Well, welcome everyone to our regular morning broadcast, Kabbalah for Heretics, with me, Yakov, Leib, HaKohain. We're going through many sacred texts and traditions, all of which come together in what we call Neo-Sabbatean Kabbalah. Primarily what we're doing and have been doing is every weekday our broadcast is devoted to the Zohar and has been, get ready, for the last 20 plus years. For the last 20 plus years, every single day, we have met to interpret and study the Zohar. And we've gone through volumes 1, 2, and 3 in that way. We've completed them. And we are now well on the way toward completing volume 4. I would say we're 95% finished with volume 4, but it's not going to be tomorrow or the day after that we finally finish it and start volume 5. It's slow going because we are thorough. And we literally do. Those of you who have been following us now for some time know that we literally go through cover to cover, volume by volume, sentence by sentence, and page by page. So it's a little slow going. But we're glad those of you who are listening to the broadcast are listening to the broadcast. And again, any of you who want to ask questions of me and go a little deeper into it with me in person, you're invited to attend these recording sessions. You don't have to. It's available to you every single day on Facebook. But if you should want to attend once or twice or any length of time, you're welcome to come and listen in to the recording session. Well, let's get back to where we left off in volume 4 of the Zohar. This is just an incredible passage in the Zohar. And again, let me point out, if any of you listening to the program doubt that the Zohar says what I'm saying it says, go to a translation of the Zohar. It's a section on Vayikra Leviticus. You can see it right there. And it's Leviticus 1 through 6 and 7. It's just incredible. It starts in the Zohar with the standard page numbering of volume 4, page 2A on to about 11B. It's all right there. Don't go asking your friend next door who claims to be a great scholar of the Zohar if it's so, because you're going to be shocked when you hear what we're talking about. Don't do that. And don't go to some rabbi who is opposed to the Zohar in the first place. Go directly to the Zohar. Directly. So what is it that the Zohar has been giving so much attention to? Literally, and I don't mean symbolically or metaphorically, that Earth, Tebel, is not the only planet in the universe. There are 6 other planets in the universe. Each one is populated by a different race or species of inhabitant. All have been populated by Adam, who has gone from planet to planet, populating the planets. Now, let me stop right there. If you're listening, you will hear that is rather convincing evidence for the theories of the extraterrestrial theorists. It is. It's talking about that, and it talks about the interaction among the planets. Each one has its own name, each one has its own inhabitants and ruler, and that there is a space, a universe between them, exactly as science is describing it. And you must remember, the Zohar, in its written form, was set down in the 4th century. The reason I'm emphasizing that is it just has said, and this earth table that we are on is round like a ball. Do you get it? This is the 4th century. It wasn't until the 15th century that Christopher Columbus came with the claim that the world was round. And I'm suggesting that it's conceivable he got it from the Zohar. There is a lot of evidence that Christopher Columbus, his real name was Christophe Colon, and he was a Sephardic Jew. His own son says that in his son's memoirs, that his father was a Jew, and so had been very, very probably exposed to the Zohar in both its oral and written form. And it was very possible that it is from there that he got the idea that the world was round. Are you following? Raise your hands if you're following me. I mean, this is just, you're not going to hear this anywhere else. Not because it isn't in the Zohar, but because others don't want to get into it. It contradicts everything that they think and believe, especially the rabbis. It leaves off yesterday talking about each planet has a ruler. This planet, Tevel, is ruled by man, its own ruler, because man is second to God. So there is a godly ruler of this planet, and that is the Messiah, who is to come, who has not yet come. The Zohar left off where we left off. All this account, which is found in the books of the ancients and in the book of Adam, is confirmed in Scripture, written Scripture, which says, quote, I will give unto thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are thy works, in Psalms. And again, quote, O Lord, how manifold are thy works, unquote. Also from Psalms. Continues, this mystery has been entrusted to the masters of wisdom, meaning the ancient Kabbalistic sages, but is not known to those who mark out boundaries, geographers and map makers and so forth. Listen to this. This is hidden wisdom that has been contained in the oral Torah ever since it was given to Moses, because by tradition, the Zohar was given orally to Moses and was not set down until the 4th century. But this mystery of these various planets has existed as very secret wisdom among the Kabbalists and in the Zohar, both before it was written and now since it was written in the 4th century. I must point out, as I have almost every morning, we see these theories of other planets and of other messiahs on each planet. Each one is ruled in Hinduism and in Mormonism. We know that Mormonism was deeply, deeply influenced by Kabbalah. Smith, the founder of Mormonism, was a great student and practitioner of Kabbalah. There are Mormon students today who make deep and profound studies of the relationship between ancient Kabbalah, such as we're studying, and Mormonism. And we know that Hinduism was deeply influenced by the oral Torah through the sons of Keturah, who were sent by Abraham eastward to the East Country, that is to say India, with the mysteries of the oral Torah, including the names of God and astrology and so forth. So we see it reflected in other spiritual systems because it was brought to other spiritual systems by these missionary sons of Keturah. If you want to read more about them, you can read what we've written, and also the original source for the text is in Genesis, I believe, 25. It says, and Adam had other sons by his wife Keturah. He had another wife, Keturah, whom he married and had these sons. It says, and to them he gave gifts and sent them eastward to the east country. The Oral Torah, the Talmud says, what does this mean, he gave them gifts? It means that Abraham gave to these sons of Keturah of his all of the esoteric, occult wisdom of the Torah that he received. That is the Oral Torah. He gave it to them. And he sent them with it astrology, astrology, oracular consultation, the names of God, all of these great mysteries. He sent them eastward to the east country of India, which is why you see such tremendous correspondences between esoteric Judaism and Hinduism. And on the way toward India, many of these sons stopped and established nests, as they're called here in the Zohar, of communities in various locations, such as the land of Midian, where one of the sons, who is named Midian, stopped and shared with the inhabitants there the Torah, the Oral Torah, the names of God, and so forth, and then continued on toward India. That is how the Oral Torah spread to other cultures through the sons of Keturah, primarily in the East. Primarily in the East. We come now to a passage of the Zohar that is going to illustrate all this. Again, we're in Vayikra Leviticus, volume 4, pages 10a to 11b. You can just go and look for yourself. Rabbi Nahore, the elder, once went on a sea voyage. The ship was wrecked in a storm, and all in it were drowned. He, however, by some miracle, went down to the bottom of the sea and found there an inhabited land where he saw strange human beings of diminutive size. Remember, this space fiction kind of stuff is coming from the Zohar, which precedes science fiction. It precedes even Christianity. So this Nahor the elder was spared death and went by a miracle down to the bottom of the sea, where he saw a land inhabited by strange human beings of diminutive size. And they were reciting prayers, but he could not tell what they said. Let me point something out to you. And you're going to be shocked by this, but we have gone deeply into it in a series of programs. The Nazi occultists were deeply influenced by Kabbalah. Openly. Deeply influenced by it. And one of their great occult leaders wrote an entire volume on Kabbalah and Nazi occultism. So you see here where their idea that there is another race of people at the center of the earth comes from, because that was their belief. It's the belief of many primitive people. It was the belief of many, but the theory that we're expounding is that all of these primitive people got these ideas from these missionary sons of Keturah as they were going along toward India, planting these ideas along the way. Where he saw strange human beings of diminutive size. They were reciting prayers, but he could not tell what they said. So it was not in a recognizable language. It was probably in what the Pentecostal Christians called tongues. Remember? Speaking in tongues, which is a very ancient Kabbalistic tradition as well. And undoubtedly were the Jews, because they were all Jews on Pentecost, who fell down and began speaking in tongues, got it. They were reciting prayers, but he could not tell what they said. By another miracle, he then came up again, and he said, "Blessed are the tzaddikim who study the Torah," we'll talk about that in a moment, "and know the most profound mysteries." Blessed are the tzaddikim, the righteous, who know the Torah by studying its most profound mysteries. That is what the Zohar means when it talks about the study of Torah. It does not mean memorizing passages of the Torah, which is what the Orthodox do. It does not mean concentrating on the literal meanings of the Torah. In fact, the Zohar says, "Woe to those who interpret the Torah only literally, who do not look for the secret occult meanings of the Torah, for they shall have no share in the world to come, and their souls shall expire." The only proper study of the Torah, according to Kabbalah, the Zohar, and the Kabbalists, the only proper study of Torah is the oral Torah, and the only proper study of the oral Torah is for the mystical meanings that are hidden in the literal meanings of the written Torah. And that's what we're going through. That's what we've been going through now for 20-some years. We've been going through all of these occult mysteries that most people, when they come to the classes for the first time, their first comment is, "I never heard that." As if, actually, to say, it can't be true. But the fact is, they've never heard it. For many, and in fact most people, this is the first place they've heard this. Now, I know this, you've heard this in the ancient astronaut theories and so forth, but you've never heard it as coming from Kabbalah or ancient Judaism. It says, this Rabbi Nahore, who went down to the civilization at the bottom of the Sea of Strange Little Men and came back up, he said, "Blessed are the tzaddikim who study the Torah and know the most profound mysteries." Listen to what it says after that. "Woe to those who argue with them about those mysteries and do not accept their word." Now let's look at the archetypal meaning of this, because it's so clear. If Carl Gustav Jung had been presented with this, I guarantee you this is what he would have said. What is being described here is indeed a descent into the sea of the great collective unconscious. And indeed, way down there, what the dreamer or the visionary indeed saw were the archetypes, little men praying in a language he did not understand. And he took that and came back up with it, with the knowledge that it was there, and the knowledge that those who study only the literal meaning of the Torah are cursed. That's our Neo-Sabbatean interpretation based on Jung. The sea, the ocean, for Jung is the great symbol of the collective unconscious. where all wisdom comes from, archetypally. This is all a visionary, occult description of one sage's experience, maybe many, of their descent into their own visionary experiences into the collective unconscious. I have had such visions and dreams because I was trained by my mentor, James Kirsch, who was trained directly by Carl Gustav Jung. And James trained me the way he was trained by Jung. So in effect, Jung was my grandfather. Blessed are the righteous who study the Torah and know the most profound mysteries. Woe to those who argue with such mystics, who dispute with them, and who do not accept their mystical word. Do you hear that? There it is, black and white. You want to see it for yourself? Go to the Zohar, Volume 3, pages 10a to 11b. There it is, right there. The only proper study of Torah is the mystical study of Torah. Woe to those who deny that. It says clearly. And it says it in other places. It says, their souls shall expire, and they shall have no share in the world to come. From that day, whenever that rabbi came into the house of study and heard the Torah being expounded, he would weep. When they asked him why he wept, he would say, because I was skeptical about the words of the Kabbalists, and now I fear me for the judgment of the other world, because I was skeptical of the revelation of the secret meanings of the Torah. Well, we'll stop there for this morning's broadcast. We'll resume tomorrow morning with the paragraph said, Rabbi Yehuda, commenting on the verse, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, said, did not that firmament divide the upper from the lower waters? There would be conflict between them. But that firmament keeps the peace between them. And the world is established only in peace. So that any conflict between the races on other planets and ourselves are kept down by the great distances between the planets. 7 in all. How do you like that? All right, well, we'll get back to that and this tomorrow morning in our broadcast.